Everyone, if you look at this position and if you play a lot of online chess, you are going to be very familiar with this position because this is the fried liver attack where white is trying to take this pawn and then they are trying to destroy your old position. So you have to know what to do against this setup, because if you just decide to play d4 d5 without knowing anything, and then they take and then you take back, you are already lost, because they can take on f7, and if you take back, there is this queen to f3 check to the king, and also they will be picking up this knight back. So if you make a mistake of going to g8, you are already lost, because they can go check, and if they take back, check. If you block, check. And this is not only check, this is checkmate. So you have to be very careful if you are playing against the Italian game as the black pieces. So in this video you will learn what to do, the kind of defense mechanism to employ against this kind of setup. So after knight to g5, what should you do? You should still play pawn to d5 in order to block this diagonal, and they are going to take. But after they take, there are some moves that you can play instead of taking back, which are still going to be equalizing the game. You can go to knight to a5, trying to gain tempo on this bishop in order to get this bishop off this diagonal that is threatening your king, this diagonal. So that's a move I can play, but that is theoretical, and I don't like that setup. So instead, you are going to jump your knight to d5, because the reason why white brought this knight here was to engage in this fried liver sheet. So you want to trap them into continuing with their plan, because in this position, if you play such openings against someone that is well prepared, you will find yourself on the losing side. So here that white has brought this knight here, and then they've taken this pawn, and then you've jumped your knight out of the way. They are going to push d6 in order to open up their bishop on this f7 pawn. You know, they are trying to renew the threat on this pawn, and they can take. So if they take, it is going to be a fork to the queen and the rook. So you have to move your rook and everything. But that move is not very good. The better move is going to be to take this pawn with check on f7. That is going to be the better move. And also, even with the better move, this setup is still playable for black, because if after this move, if they push the pawn, and then let's say you bring your queen, you take the pawn, and then they take with check. You know, I told you this is the best move. So after they take with check, and then you move your king up, you know that this bishop is in trouble, because this is its defender. And if we play h6 and then kick it out, this bishop is going to be hanging. So all they can do is to save their bishop. And if they save their bishop, we are going to simply grab the bishop. And if they take back, kick this knight out of town. And you can see that the knight cannot come here. It cannot come here. It cannot come here. It cannot come here because of our knight. So this knight has only this square to come to, because if it comes here, we are going to chop the knight off, and then we are going to damage white's pawn structure. So instead, they will be forced to bring the knight back here. And still, after the knight is on this square, it is still not safe, because you are going to push e4, gaining another tempo on the knight. So the knight has to move, and the knight still does not have a lot of squares. If it comes here, it's going to be on the edge of the board, and it is going to be lost, because if you come here, you just simply push g5, and it is cutting for white. So if they bring, after we push e5, some of your opponents might try to be funny, and then they might try to pin the pawn to the king. It's no problem. You can just move the king out of the pin, and this pawn is still threatening the knight. So the knight still cannot come here. It can't come here, and it still cannot come here. It has only two squares, and this is this and this. So if the knight comes here, as I told you, simply push this pawn, hitting the knight. It can't come here. It can't come here because of this bishop, and it can't come here because of this king. And if they play this move, you already know that they've already lost. So the only thing that white can do in this position is to go back with the knight. And still, they are still not good, because you can gain another tempo on this queen. And it doesn't even matter however white replies to this move, because even if they play f3, you can just take, and however they take, we have bam, rook to e8, we have pinned the queen to the king. So this position is already lost. It is nearly 6 points of material for black, and you cannot lose this game as black, as the black pieces. So even with the better move, it is still not good for white. That is what I want to show you guys. So now, after they push and we jump our knight and they renew this threat, we are going to take this pawn with our queen. So if they don't go for this move, bishop takes with check, the only move that they can go for is to take this knight, is to take the pawn with the knight on f7, and then they are going to be gaining tempo on our queen. And also it is going to be a fork on the rook in the corner. So, you know, they brought the knight from here to here, and then they took this pawn. It has been their plan all over the game since the game has started. So we are going to allow them to fall into the trap, and then they are going to take the pawn. So instead, after they gain this tempo on our queen, we are simply going to move our queen to c6, and we are going to be hitting this bishop. And some of your opponents might be like, all right, you are hitting this bishop, but also what about this rook? You can take this bishop. I'm going to take this rook in the corner, and then we are going to be equal in material. But that's not the case. We are not actually looking at this bishop on this c4 square. We are looking at something else. We are looking at the king. So if they go ahead and take this pawn, they are done, because we are simply going to take on this g2 square. We are going to be hitting this rook, and now this rook has to move. If the rook moves here, the game is just done, because we have check, and there is no moves here for white. There's no moves. They can bring this queen here, and then we can take with the knight. Obviously, they are not going to do that. So even if they bring the queen here, we can take the queen, or we can give this check. The king has to move, and the position is still lost. But the only move that they can play is to bring this bishop back in order to cover this check on the king. And if they bring this bishop back, it is already lost, because as you can see with the arrow that I've indicated, this bishop is pinned to the king. And now we can just jump here with a check to the king, and this bishop cannot take because it is pinned to the king, and the king is smothered behind its own pieces, and the game is just lost. So this is the trap. In just one word, this is the trap. But some of you guys might be thinking that, okay, if my opponent is a little bit better, if they are not falling for the trap, you know, after I take here, let me see. So if they are like, okay, after you jump here, they are not pushing this pawn in order to renew this threat. They are immediately attacking your knight, because they want to get rid of your knight from this strong outpost. So if they attack your knight, you're not going to simply obediently bring the knight back. You know, we want to attack them also. So we are going to push our pawn to b5. It will be a counter attack. So if they take our knight, we are going to take the bishop. So if they take this pawn, you know, they are eating our knight. We are simply going to take back this pawn, and this pawn cannot take our knight, because we can also take back, and the material will still be equal. But still, if they take, we are going to take, and if they take, we will take back. And although you can look at this position and be like, okay, we have this pawn here, we have this pawn here, there is this double pawns, and there is this isolated pawn. We might be in trouble. Actually, no, we are not in trouble. We are not in any kind of trouble in this position, because we have this supreme bishop on this long diagonal, and this bishop can also occupy this square, and it is going to be laser beaming on this diagonal. So what can they do? If they castle, it is not going to be good. If they castle, we can immediately create a checkmating threat on this square. So if they push their pawn, we can bring our queen here in order to line up on this diagonal. So if we bring our queen here and then they push this pawn in order to cover it, we can bring our bishop to give this check. We are going to push this pawn. We are going to trade everything, and now this rook is going to be looking at the queen, at the king. So let me show you. So if they push this, we can simply go like this. They don't want the king to be here, though they have no moves, because the only thing they can do is to bring this rook here, and then we are going to pile pressure on the rook. So if they bring the king here, the game is just bad. You can simply castle our king first in order to activate this rook, and already you can see the game plan. Push your pawn, trade off, bring this rook, and you win the game. So it is just a very simple position for us to play with the white piece, with the black pieces. Even if they give this, if after we develop our bishop, they give this nasty check, there is no problem. We can just bring our queen here. We are going to be bringing our rook here in the next move. And also they still have to focus on this checkmating threat, because our bishop is looking here and our queen is looking here. And this position is a very open position, and we have the two bishops. So that is our main advantage. So if your opponent plays the fried liver against you, you don't have to be afraid. In fact, when I didn't know anything to do against the fried liver attack, this Italian game setup, I don't play knight to f6 because I don't like dealing with the fried liver. Instead, I just develop the bishop here, and then after that I develop my knight. But after I knew this trap, I intentionally invite them to play the fried liver, and I play my bishop, my knight to f6, and I want them to come here. So that's the trap in one move. So if you found this useful, please like this video. Bye.